Not the Olympic team, the para team will. So now we're going to head up for the men's coxless 4. We've just seen the women's coxless 4. So again, Great Britain have been the world champions. But this year so far has not gone to plan as they'd have hoped it would. And the field has really stepped up with these crews coming from outside Europe. So Great Britain, the world championships champions, beaten by Australia, and also the United States joining, and also New Zealand joining, Sarah. So a very hot race we're expecting now.
Indeed. The fastest qualifiers for this race were the USA, who are in the centre of the course with the Australians, but in lane 1 from France, who have been very strong throughout this regatta, Turlan, Brunet and Rayet. In lane 2 from New Zealand, McLean, Ulrich, Murray and McDonald. In lane 3 from the USA, the fastest qualifiers, Mead, Best, Grady and Corrigan. Lane 4 from Australia, it is a new look combination in this boat, still with Alex Hill in the stroke seat, the Olympic champion in this event from Tokyo, but joined by Robertson, Hamilton and Masters. In lane 5 from Great Britain, Davidson, Ulrich, Ambler and Wilkes. And in lane 6 from Netherlands, Rinks, Brouwer, Ritsima and Mollet.
So a few quiet moments before the start. And yet, as we said, this Australian crew, I mean, we thought that Australia were favouring the 8, and that 3 of those Olympic champions from the 4 have got into the 8. But this new look coxless 4, we took it to the rest of the world, beat Great Britain in the heat, and so have got that position in lane 4. But you've said, Sarah, America, the fastest qualifier, winning through direct from their heat. We're expecting a great race here as all the crews, unsurprisingly at this level, in this beautiful water at the Rotsey, get away very smoothly.
I mean, all of these boats are incredibly good. This is going to be such a tough race. I think this is one of the toughest lineups that we've seen of the day so far, where all 6 crews, any of them could make the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone could make the podium. We saw Alex Hill, that experience in the stroke seat, but it's the Americans that we said were the fastest in qualifying. They're certainly the fastest here in the first 250. A brilliant start getting away. We're used to seeing this British crew sat behind Freddie Davidson in that stroke seat, usually get away more slowly and then work their way into the race. Australians, Alex Hill, really quite a contrast to Freddie Davidson. Freddie Davidson so calm and quiet in the stroke seat. Alex Hill, you know, he's so businesslike, he's so workmanlike, getting on with it. You see him there, really quite aggressive, but well backed up. Fergus Hamilton there in the 2 seat. I rode with his father back in the Great Britain team, but he's settled in Australia now. His mum Louise will be watching in, I'm sure, enjoying the performance they've got. They would be enjoying it more if these Americans were not leading, and the Kiwis up there in the gold and silver positions right now. But still very tight, Sarah.
Wow, through the first 500 metres, you could throw a blanket over the field, but it is the USA leading through, New Zealand in second, and then this age-old rivalry opening up between the Australians and the British once again. They've traditionally been dominant in this men's 4 come Olympic Games time, but the Americans will have something to say about that. Currently the race leaders.
Well, the Americans have really put their team together well. We're expecting to see good 8s racing from the Americans as well later on in this regatta. This crew we're watching now picked up silver last year at the World Championships. They're all Tokyo veterans. So we're looking at Alex Hill there, taking that look to the right. Look at him sending it down. He wants to pull that boat back into contention. The British are their usual smooth self, but I think the Americans and the New Zealanders over here just looking good, as you see Nick Mead in the bow seat of that American crew just taking a look. And they look really smooth, the Americans.
They do. They're just down a couple of points lower. They're down on 38 strokes per minute. They've got a really good hold on it. The Aussies still up at 40 as we see Alex Hill look across there. But look at the Kiwis here.
Yeah, Matt McDonald there in the stroke seat, backed up by Tom Murray. They both have gold medals from Tokyo, where they were in the 8. In the 4 last year, they got the bronze medal behind the British. At the moment, they're solidly in that second place. Great Britain just sitting there again like they do, just quietly moving along. But how about this American crew? Liam Corrigan there in the stroke seat. Long, strong. He's got it all, I think.
Yeah, well, the American men's sweep team have really burst onto the scene here in Lucerne. We saw their men's 8 take out their heat in a dominant fashion. So that team clearly on the upswing here in Lucerne. We know that they've got a relatively new performance director in Josie Verdonschot, who is really driving that team forward and helping to build out the system that's starting to churn out some results as we're heading in towards the Paris Olympic Games. But they're going to have a big challenge here. The Australians still the highest rating boat. They're sitting back in 4th place up on 41 strokes per minute. Are they going to have anywhere to go, because they're coming down to the final 700 metres, and it is the Americans now being challenged by the Kiwis over in lane 2.
As you said, Sarah, this is a really classy race, and I think it's a really classy American 4. They are so strong, they're moving so well. Here's the British, we're used to seeing them looking pretty impassive. Matt Aldrich there in the 3 seat. He's getting married. He's got joint best men sat either side of him, Dave Ambler and Freddie Davidson. And up in the bow seat, it's Ollie Wilkes. But they are used to being calm and cool and quiet at the front of the field. They have clear water to make up if they are to get into gold medal position. They're in bronze now. The Australians are beside them, but it's the crews who came from that other heat. It's the Americans and it's the Kiwis. The Kiwis who put this crew together to train for longer. 2 of them were away at universities. Now they're together. And I think that's really paying off for the New Zealanders. And it's certainly working for the Americans. Wow, look at this. The Americans are holding that lead 8 metres now at the front of the field.
Yeah, the Kiwis have the fastest moving boat on the course. Are they going to run out of water here? The Americans so dominant for this race in the centre of the course. We've been all talking about the British and the Australians and how close that heat was. But as you say, Greg, it is the other heat from New Zealand and the USA who are leading this final.
Well, the Americans, we said, were the fastest qualifiers coming through their heat. And here they are. This looks like very little let up. You can see the stroke rates. The Australians, I'm not surprised to see them with Alex Hill using rate. He's always been able to do that, but they're a long way back. It's the New Zealanders. We're seeing now Matt McDonald in that stroke seat, looking to take it on, looking to create a challenge, but they're 9 metres back on the Americans. The Americans are holding this lead. We're coming down towards the line. It's still looking good for the Americans. The British looking fairly impassive. But here we go, coming down to the line. This crew from the United States won their heat in the fastest time. They're going to win this final here in Lucerne. It's a win for the United States ahead of New Zealand, and Great Britain are going to have to settle for 3rd, with the Australians back there in 4th.
Wow, what a final of that men's 4, Greg. I don't know that we would have expected the USA before this race to take that. The world champions relegated to the bronze medal position.
Yeah, massive performance, as you say. Josie Verdonschot, who's gone from the Netherlands, now working with this American team, and it just feels like they're a, what can I say, they're a happy team. They're a team that seem to be working, rowing a little bit more smoothly than I seem to remember American crews looking. This Kiwi crew, I think I understand they're spending more time in the boat together. Last year they did get that bronze medal, but it's a project that's kind of moving and going in the right direction. The Great Britain crew will, I'm sure, be disappointed with their 3rd bronze medal position. They are used to being top of the podium. This year has looked shaky. They did lose to the Italians, the first World Cup. And again, finding themselves not on the top of the podium. So yeah, some thinking to do for Great Britain. And for Australia, Sarah, I mean, as the CEO of Australian Rowing, what do you think about that 4th place?
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot there, Greg.
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, like I said, I mean, the eight we're going to see later, 3 of the gold medal.
Yeah, look,
Tokyo 4 went into that.
we've had a big change in the lineup of the men's 4 and the men's 8. Of course, our team only just arriving the week before this regatta, so it'll be interesting to see how the Australian team settles in. We'll will be over here now until the game. Same with the Kiwis. So there's still